What is happening, guys? Cowboy here. Welcome back to Monster Hunter World, and this is my Greatsword build. Now, the Greatsword is a weapon that requires excellent monster knowledge, patience, positioning, but in the hands of someone that masters it, it's probably the most devastating weapon in the game. You can do insane numbers with the Greatsword, and I mean, on average, you're hitting for upwards of 500 damage when played correctly, but it does require a lot of practice. So if you're picking this up thinking it's going to be like Berserk, sorry man. Once again, this is not anime and you got a lot to learn. But to jump into the build, here you go. If you want to know why we picked these choices, make sure to stay tuned. But the basic gist of the Greatsword is to get up to the true charge slash, which is fairly simple. 2 attacks, and then you charge the third all the way up for doing the big hit. As you can see, with no buffs, we're hitting 692 true charge slashes on the totem pole. Pretty freaking hefty. Now, in the past, a popular thing was something called crit draw with Greatsword, where you'd force the first hit to crit, and then sheath your weapon, and then do it again. And I think it's important to demonstrate this, because as you saw, we were right around 300, then we were 313, and once again, this, on the other hand, is hitting for high into the 600s, 673, 692. So the true charge slash is doing more damage than the strong charge slash and the regular charge put together. So at the end of the day, if you really want to see the numbers with the Greatsword, you got to go to the true charge slash. Just, you know, I know you might like crit draw, but you're missing out doing it. Now, to get to the true charge slash, there's a couple ways. My personal favorite when I'm chasing after a monster is to roll in with a triangle, charge into a tackle, and then charge up into the true charged. If I'm already on top of the monster, what I tend to do is just open with a triangle, and then go into the tackle, and then once again into the true charge slash. Because the majority of our damage is coming via the true charged, it's better to just get a tackle out and get to that true charged. You do it just from a standing position as well. And I think it's important to note that you can do the tackle basically indefinitely. As long as you have stamina, while you're holding triangle, just tap circle and then press triangle again, and you can keep doing this until you are right where you want to be to let the attack loose. Additionally, I think it's important to note that the tackle will inherit both super armor and a defensive bonus based on your charge. So if we were to just do the tackle without doing anything, you can see it's, you know, hitting in the 60s, the 80s. If we were to charge it all the way up and do our tackle, boom, up in the hundreds. If that crits, it hits for about 150, as you can see right there. And what's nice about this is, let's say you're fighting the monster, you know, you roll up on it, roll in, you're going to get your first hit in, and then the monster's coming at you. You charge up all the way, big shoulder check, and then while the monster is recovering from that, you get a free opening to land a true charge slash to the face. On top of that, you can use the tackle to basically block your way through just about anything. It's very similar to the counter attack and the foresight slash. You can block roars with it, you can block Nergigante dive bombs with it, you can do basically whatever. I mean, I've seen people shoulder check Baroth charges, Diablos charges, Nergigante dive bombs, all kinds of crazy attacks. So mastering the mechanic of the tackle and having the patience to do it at the right time is really going to be an incredibly important aspect of mastering the Greatsword. The last thing I want to cover before we go into the build itself is, of course, the wake-up hit. Now, the Greatsword is commonly considered the best wake-up weapon just because of how potent True Charge Slash is. So what you're going to do is walk right up on the monster. We'll block real fast to kind of see, you know, if we're in a good position here. You can see, let me turn a little bit. Alright, so let's say that's the monster's face. We're like right on it with our sword. Yeah, that looks good right there. A little bit more. Perfect. Going to go back in X, turn around, charge, charge, and then do the true charge. And what this will do is ensure that you're going to connect with the second part of the true charge slash, but not the forward flip or the first 2 hits, so that the wake up hit is doing as much damage as possible. If you've ever seen a video of someone hitting for 2,000 damage with the Greatsword, or even the opening of this video where I had that 1,400 plus crit, that's exactly what we did there. So if the monster's asleep, it's your job to wake it up, master the positioning of doing that. It's kind of your role. I know I don't want to assign roles because Monster Hunter isn't a traditional RPG where you have like tank and DPS, but if there was one role that's kind of universally understood, it's when the monster's sleeping, Greatsword dude's going to be the one to wake this thing up. So having said all that, let's jump into the build. The first thing I want to point out is our weapon, Leviathan's Fury. Now, a lot of people have done theory crafting and numbers, and I've seen people swear that the Great Jagras Hacker is better, some swear that the Arena Greatsword, the Jawblade's better, some say the Baroth's better. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of Leviathan's Fury. Now, in the numbers I run, without like every decoration of the game available, I had Leviathan's Fury coming up on top because of the boost from White Sharpness. However, if you have a multitude of maximum might and critical boost available, the Jagras Hacker could potentially do more DPS. With that being said, we do have 300 Dragon Element here, which doesn't matter all that much, but more importantly, we have Elder Seal. At the end of the game, all we're fighting is Elder Dragons. So having Elder Seal already at average and being able to put it up to high if we choose is actually really nice in my opinion. On top of that, we have a huge bar of White Sharpness. When we pick up our Handicraft, the other Greatswords only stay at blue. Like, yeah, you have a lot of blue sharpness, that's cool and all. But with Handicraft, we have enough White Sharpness that we'll get through the entire fight at White Sharpness without having to sharpen. And because of that, and the fact that it looks just, you know, aesthetically badass, I found this to be the best overall Greatsword choice. Yes, 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 I know. If you run theory crafting, you could do better with the Hacker. But you know what? The Hacker's fucking ugly, and I refuse to include it. I don't care how overly optimized it can be. Go for Leviathan's Fury. You'll thank me later. Moving on from there, Handicraft Charm 3. As I mentioned, we obviously want to load up on Handicraft. Dragon King Eye Patch. Pretty straightforward here. You know, we're going for the weakness exploit. Dobermail Beta for attack, Death Stench Grips for 2 points in focus, Nergigante Coil Beta for 2 points in attack, and then Death Stench Heal Beta for 2 points in Handicraft. Now, right now I have a focus gem, the Charger Jewel here, which is what's giving me my focus 3. If you don't have one of those, and it is fairly rare, it's a rarity 8, what I would suggest doing is swapping out Dobermail for Damascus Mail Beta, and then Death Stench for the Diablos Nero Bracers. This is going to give you a similar amount of gem slots. You can see we have a level 2 and a level 1, and then we have 3 level 1s as compared to the level 3 there, and then 2 level 1s here. So that will still give you access to level 3 focus, as well as a comparative amount of gem slots. But if you have the gem, I find it better to go for the Dober Death Stench combo, because we're getting 2 points in attack boost, and you know, most of us aren't loaded up on attack decorations. I mean, if you have attack decorations, hell, you know, just go for this. You can slot 3 in, get your 2 focus and 3 attack. But if you didn't do the dupe, I doubt you have that. Moving on from there, though, at all of our decorations, as I mentioned already, we have a Charger Jewel here. I found that to work in very well, meaning we only needed to wear armor to pick up 2 points. Of course, the Tenderizer Jewel giving us Weakness Exploit at level 3. And then we focus on damage. Now, I personally like critical jewels. I only have 1 at the moment, so I'm running that. And then a Mighty Jewel is my secondary. But if I had a choice, I would definitely go for more critical boost over Mighty Jewel. When we're doing our shoulder tackles, we're burning through our stamina. So while Mighty Jewel can be nice, you know, we're dancing on a fine line with stamina usage when it comes to shoulder checks. And because of that, critical boost overall is going to be a much safer bet. Especially because of how high our damage already is, boosting the damage of the critical hit shows much better returns with something like a Greatsword than it does with something like the Dual Blades, where we do lots of damage but they're little hits. Moving on from there, of course, I just ended up slotting in Expert Jewels. If I had the attack, I'd probably go for 3 attack and then put like a Fortitude here, but I don't know why. The game likes to shit out Expert Jewels. I want to say I have something like 7 of them at this point, but yet I don't have a single attack jewel, so you know what, you work with what you got. So pulling this all together, and what does it give us? Handicraft at level 5, and that's going to give us that huge amount of White Sharpness. That's going to be enough that we get through the entire battle without having to worry about sharpening. We have attack boost at 4, which is a nice break point because we're hitting that 5% affinity, and on top of that, we have a healthy amount of attack. We have Critical Eye at 4, giving us another 15% affinity, and this is going to put us at a base level of 20. Add in Weakness Exploit at level 3, and we're looking at a 70% chance to crit when we're hitting a weak point. Focus level 3, and in my opinion, this is an auto-include. You have to have this. Now, I know you might say, oh, it's only 20%, that's not much. It cuts almost a full second off how fast you can do your true charge slash. And if you've played with Greatsword at all, you know that a full second is the difference between you hitting something in the face and you completely whiffing. And if you whiff and you miss the true charge slash, hands down, that's more than half of your damage just gone to the wind. So, trust me on this, pick up focus. it'll make your world so much better. And then of course critical boost and maximum might, really just, you know, whatever you can do to amplify damage here. Maximum might, critical boost, agitator, even peak performance to some extent. Anything that's going to boost damage, but I would consider critical boost to be the best choice. And that's going to wrap things up for the Greatsword. You know, very similar to the Longsword here, our main thing is a focus on maximizing our damage as much as possible. Obviously making sure we work focus into the build because of how important that is to Greatsword, but that's all there really is to it. So now that we've covered everything, let's jump on into a hunt and show you just how effective this build is, even when it's in the hands of a novice. So for our hunt, we're going to be going after a tempered Odogaron. And at first thought, you might be like, Odogaron, that's a bad matchup for Greatsword. You know, he jumps all over the place. He's like a child that has eaten 18 candy bars and won't stop. But I think that actually makes it good because, you know, we can really showcase the tackles and how effective those are against things that don't want to stay still. So as I mentioned right before we swapped gears from an overview to fight, I would not consider myself that good with Greatsword. All in all, I would say on like a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably... Thanks Radabon, you piece of shit. I would say I'm probably at like a 6. I'm confident enough in my abilities, but I still think there's a lot of room for me to improve. So just keep that in mind. You know, someone that is a lot more familiar with the Greatsword and has the mechanics down would probably do a lot better than how I'm about to do the same build. Popping camps here. Not running all the way down there. But even then, I think I do okay. I'm definitely a lot stronger with other weapons against like elders and whatnot still, but I can get by okay with Greatsword. It's a really fun weapon, so I do want to learn it and get more familiar with it, more kind of well-timed when it comes to dropping out the shoulder tackles and things like that. Bagel's here as well. You know, probably interrupt because he is the drunken frat monster of Monster Hunter. Oh, he's already here. He's like, I heard there was about to be a party, so I came. So I'd say a big part of the Greatsword is it's very hit and run. You know, do damage, put the weapon away. So kind of to that effect early on, quick sheath is actually pretty convenient to have. That's what you get for interfering, Bagel. How does it feel to lose your tail, you angry asshole? I mean, how funny is that, though? Bagel just accidentally got caught into the fray and got his tail cut off. Bagel, I will not hesitate to murder the shit out of you. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, Bagel. You can either go away or I'm gonna beat your ass. The choice is yours. While he's here, I'll just do this. I know my time's gonna be a little bit higher sitting here dicking around with Bagel and carving tails and whatnot, but what the hell, who cares? Boom! Sit down, puppy! Another fun thing, which I didn't mention before, but you can actually use right trigger to block. Definitely worth mentioning. Now, without guard, you're not going to be blocking everything like you would with the shield from the lance or the charge blade, but it's actually really good. Like the right trigger block on the Greatsword, it's comparable. And if you were to go up to like guard 5, you could actually block some crazy fucking attacks with it as well. Oh man. So, you know, that's what you gotta look out for, because missing an attack like that, that's a ton of my damage just gone, basically. Stop it. Oh, that's his secret Odogaron passage that no one else can go through. Oh, he's about to die already. Okay. Wow, this was a lot quicker than I thought. Bagel's like, I'm back! You fucking took my tail! I don't like you! Touch me. Touch me. I will end you. I will not hesitate to end your existence. Bagel bitch. That's probably my favorite thing about the Greatsword, is when you're fighting, like, Monster A, and then Monster B decides that it's going to get up in your face during the fight with Monster A, and then Monster B ends up having its tail cut off because it thought it was going to fuck with you. Alright, Yammers, I want you to play me the dopest attack boost you got. Because Daddy wants a one-hit KO. Stamina consumption? We don't need that. Come on, come on. Give me something good. Give me, like, the attack. Give me attack while I do this bone pile. Negate stun. Also not what I needed. Oh, anyway. So, as you may remember, we're going to get right up on its face. There we go. Looking good. Roll back. Flip around. Oh! 1325. He is not happy about that. Oh, I held too long. I was trying to get to one more level of charge there before I did the shoulder check. Oh, get shoulder checked to death. That's the Greatsword. Now, obviously, as you saw, you know, there were quite a few attacks that I ended up just outright whiffing, and that's exactly what I was talking about early on. Now, one of the biggest things with the Greatsword is it takes a lot of patience, which I'm terrible at exhibiting patience, and it takes really good timing, you know, knowing when to do your shoulder check, knowing when to let it loose. But with practice and getting good, those two, I would say those are like the two tenets of the Greatsword, patience and timing. And you get good at that, and you'll like double the kill speed I just did on this thing. And given I was messing around with Bagel a little bit, grabbing loot, whatever. But the point stands that, you know, the Greatsword is a fantastic weapon, and you know, we took out Odogaron and we messed with Bagel, and we still have half of our white sharpness left, which kind of goes back to my original point of, you know, taking this sword and getting all this white sharpness. It's enough to get you through your hunts. You'll get through 2 monsters usually before you're having to sharpen this thing. You might say, oh, you know, I don't need the handicraft, and that might be true. You know, you could drop the pants out and go for like the Near Gigante pants, get some more maximum might in the mix, but you know, personally I'm kind of a lazy guy, and just keeping the handicraft at 5, I enjoy that. So either way, that is going to wrap up things for the Greatsword. Obviously, up next we're going to have the hammer. There is one gem I'm missing that I need before the hammer is ready to go. But rest assured, it will be relatively soon. So thanks for watching as always, and we will catch you guys with our next build video.